Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Now, in this video, we are going to be discussing the current situation of the market and what you should be doing with your liquidity positions. So with that being said, let's jump straight into it. So obviously the market is down massively today. The day of recording this video is Friday, the 27th of March. Bitcoin is down 4%. We're at 66,550. And ETH is broken 2K. We're now at 1986, down 4%. And the rest of the market is also taking a dump. So what does that mean for liquidity positions? Now, this completely depends on how you have this set up. And let me show you something quickly on DeFi Llama. So if we look over here on DeFi Llama, we can see the total value locked in DeFi is currently 93.094 billion. However, in the past 24 hours, we have lost $3 billion in TVL. So this is from people obviously bringing their money out of the DeFi markets or becoming in impermanent loss and looking at impermanent loss. So obviously the TVL goes down and all that good stuff. And you can see the inflow, you can see unlocks coming up and all that good stuff. But yeah, you can also see volume on DEXs has been progressively high. Like nothing really to be concerned about here for fees as well. This is a good metric. So yeah, you can see we've lost $3 billion has been wiped out from the TVL and DeFi in the past 24 hours, which is very interesting, okay? Because, and you've noticed in my videos over the past sort of a few weeks, is I have been non-stop talking about wide ranges. And this is the exact reason for it. Okay, when I first started yield farming with concentrated liquidity, I would do pretty tight ranges between, plus minus 10%, around there. And yes, the APR is great, but when there is dips like this, okay, when the market tanks 4% in a day, then obviously that is going to massively affect your earnings because I assume a lot of those positions are out of range. And this is the issue with doing super tight ranges is that you're going to be out of range a lot more and you're going to have to be rebalancing quite a bit more to obviously get back into range to start earning fees again. However, when you do wide ranges, I've got range, all of my ranges are 50% and then we have one at 60%. And you can see we get a 54% APR as of right now. This fluctuates anywhere from sort of 40 to 70% or so. Now, if we see here, I mean, this one is sort of the one that's most risky going out of range, $1,700 ETH, okay, all the way up to $3,100. So you can see these wider ranges, yes, they earn slightly less APR. Oh no, not 5% a month. What are we going to do with that, right? But you're going to be in range a lot longer. So I haven't locked in any impermanent loss. Yes, my deposit value is slightly lower, so you could call that divergence loss or impermanent loss. However, this is still earning me $12 a day. I've earned $50 since Monday. I will claim this again on Monday. This will have about $70 to $80 to claim by the time we get to Monday, which I'll do another video on claiming this. But yeah, I'm just sitting here in range, still not really too worried about the market and collecting fees. So this is why I say do wide ranges. Now, there are a bunch of wide range positions that you can go into. Let's say WETH to USDC. WETH to USDC. Okay, there's a bunch of them. I mean, like there's so many, right? Even this one here paying on Aerodrome right now, this by default is 2%, right? Which you probably don't want to do. But let's say you wanted to do a 50% range on here. Okay, the APR is not so good there, but you can play around with these. Okay, find a pool that you like that has a decent amount of TVL. The one I'm in has $1.2 million of TVL. And you can go ahead and find a good range that you're happy with. Like this one here, 15% is okay. It's better than, very, very small. That's getting 100%. If we bump these numbers up to a 50% range, 33% APR. This is still really good. I think a lot of people, especially like myself as well, and those of you that were sort of in the DGEM plays and the sort of DGEM market where we were getting 1% per day back in the 21, 22 days, switching your mindset from, okay, I'm getting from 1% per day to 30% per year, that's a big shift in the mindset. But you also have to think about, okay, the typical financial markets get on average anywhere between 8 to 10% per year. So if you can get 30% per year, then, that's fantastic. And also a lot, I know some intel, by the way, is that some sort of big financial companies are starting to use DeFi to produce yield for clients, obviously on a very, very small scale, but I know that is happening. Family offices, for sort of high net worth people and some smaller sort of traditional finance people are actually coming into DeFi to use these kind of yields for their clients. So we're very early still, and if you can sort of position yourself to, you're happy with sort of wider ranges, you're happier to make less daily rewards, but you can stay in range for longer. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, the longer you can stay in range and earn fees for a consistent amount of time, you're going to beat this game and you're going to win this game. And then, of course, long term, you can do a strategy where you can lend out some assets over on Aave, borrow 30 to 40% against it, and use that capital to come into here, earn fees on that capital, and then you can go and buy more of those assets, add it to your collateral, so your LTV goes down. Or what you can also do is you can pay off the loan if you really want to and start chipping away at that. But that's sort of more further down the line. If you're brand new to yield farming, what I would suggest is just test out like $100 pool and see, just learn the process and sort of see how you get on with that. But that is sort of my thoughts on this market. No, I do not think if you're out of range right now, probably don't rebalance because, and I say that because, especially if it's just happened in the past 24 hours, this is my personal opinion, by the way. Do not take this as a financial advice, but I always leave it at least 24 to 48, sometimes even 72 hours before rebalancing a position when I'm out of range. Now, this has happened in the past 24 hours. The market is extremely choppy right now just because of everything that is happening. So there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs depending on what's being said. I'm sure you can guess what I mean by that. And yeah, so it's just a case of when you're happy to do it, but don't lock in silly losses just because you see red for a day, is what I would say on that. So it is interesting, isn't it, that $3 billion been wiped out from the TVL and DeFi over the past day, versus if people are yield farming with this, which I imagine they are, and they just had better sort of setup where they're not as risky, then it would be completely fine. I'm completely fine. Yes, my total deposit value is down slightly, a couple $100, but we're still earning. We're still in range earning, and then this market will go back up, and then this will go back up and I will still be earning. So that is really going to be it for the video. I just wanted to show you a real life example of this because I know a lot of people are probably going to be out of range today. And I just wanted to show you the power of sort of wider ranges and that it is a marathon and not a sprint. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.